How you doing, guys? Professor EDC with another BLADE-OSOPHY. That's right, it's a BLADE-OSOPHY video. It's been a while. So where have you been, Professor? Well, unfortunately, I've been sick. Got pretty sick, and unfortunately, for a month and a half or so, and I was totally out. Couldn't really make videos. I was in pain 24 hours, 24/7, and just really had to focus on getting well and on managing the pain that I was going through, unfortunately. But I'm getting better, and now I'm starting to come back to all my activities. So during this time, I got to ask myself how to select, how to choose what stays and what goes. A very common question amongst us enthusiasts and collectors, right? But it's not an easy question, and even less so the answer or the answers. This is something I think about in the short, medium, and long term all of the time. Whenever I buy a piece, it's something that's already within my input. So let's go over a few of the things that I take into consideration. Let's remember that this is just my point of view. Nothing is written in stone. Nothing is said and done in life. Everything transforms and changes if we allow it to. And even if we don't, that's the nature of reality. And in this case, well, I like to keep things flowing. I may keep something for a while to learn enough from it and then let go of it. Of course, letting go is something that is not easy for a lot of us. Sometimes we like to hoard knives, mugs, stamps, whatever. I have collected from seashells to mugs, from mail stamps to Hot Wheels, whatnot. Anyways, axes, machetes, knives, folders. Anyways, but when having to choose, I noticed these factors that are very important, at least for me. And one of them is the utility. And the utility is something that is basic for me, because in the end of the day, these are knives, and they are meant to cut. And so that is something I really don't forget. So the utility is something that I take into consideration all of the time. How versatile something it is, that's something that's very a factor or a characteristic that I take seriously into consideration. Another thing is the aesthetics, of course. And here we have many examples, and these examples are true examples because I'm choosing which to keep and which to let go and put in sale. So for example, the CKF Evo Typhoon, no, that's the Sharp by Design, the Evo, CKF Evo. This is the 3 and this is the CKF Evo 2. The more popular, I think, and the classic look of it, like tree bark. I really like this finish. And I love this folder. This is a great design. And so I have to take into consideration, I've had these for, I don't know, a couple of years. I have to take into consideration which one will I let go of. And since I really, really like both. So both of them cut really, really well. This one, the blade on the Evo 2, is just a micron thinner than the Evo 3, and that's due because of the DLC coating. But well, when you get to this level, I think, and for the size of the knife, you know, that's not really gonna matter in this case, just in this case. Love the finish on this, the bark-like finish, titanium, and then also really like the DLC polished finish on this. It's very unique, so I really, really like that. So both of them are excellent. Both of them have the same steel, M390. But what is going to define the moment here? What is going to define which one stays and which one goes? In this case, it's going to be the ergos. Because this one is bigger. And I adapt, or I have extra large size hands. So I really, really feel more comfortable. I do feel comfortable, very comfortable with the Evo 2, but and it's hard to let go, man. But when it comes to it, I prefer the size of the Evo 3. So in this case, I'm gonna have to let go of the Evo 2 and keep the Evo 3. But apart from that, yes, I take into consideration utility, aesthetics, the ergos, special details like polished DLC, right? Like special details. Let's talk about the Comanche by Enrique Peña, superlative brand. This is a fantastic slip joint, and I got two. Did you hear that walk and talk? This model has a better walk and talk, at least in matters of acoustic, of sound. I love the Mars Valley fat carbon, and love the detail that this has a shield. Look at the main pivot. The shape of it, it's different than this with the speed holes. Both in one of my favorite steels, which is M4. Love the profile, love the shape. Very sharp cutters, slicey, very slicey, both of them. This one a bit heavier, because it's because of the type of construction. When you have this type of construction, is a lot lighter, and it's not that much, but you can feel it. So in this case, which one am I going to choose? Now, when it comes to this, to those special characteristics, you know, you also have to take into consideration the period that you're going through as a collector, because we go through different periods as collectors. We go through different stages of taste as we evolve. Taste is something that can evolve with learning. Now, if we don't learn, then taste doesn't evolve. It's like with classic music. It's like with the arts. If we don't study, then our tastes will not evolve, and we will keep on listening to the same thing over and over and over. And yeah, I may like, I don't know, Guns N' Roses. I may like Eminem. I may like, yeah, I love different types of music, the Beatles and whatnot. But I also learned to appreciate classical music. I also learned to really appreciate opera. Love that, love opera. And so, but it's something that I have learned over the years, as well as art. It's the same thing here. And now, yes, each one of us is going to have a different experience and have different tastes. That's wonderful. But it's different. Yes, we all as humans have different tastes, of course. But there are tastes without, how do I put it? Tastes without schooling and tastes with schooling. It is not the same to be an orchestra director. It is not the same to be a painter than to just go into a museum and enjoy the paintings, or to go to a concert and just enjoy the music. Or some people just fall asleep during a concert, right? Classical music concert. Whatever it may be. So it's not the same when you have background, when you have luggage, experimental, knowledgeable luggage, as when you don't have that luggage. And this I say as a professional teacher. So, in that sense, taste is something that can evolve. And so also within taste is aesthetics. And aesthetics, we have basically, I'm going to reduce it to two types of aesthetics. Superficial aesthetics, dealing more with beauty, which is related to the newest stuff, to what's the word I'm looking for? Let's see if it comes around. And the aesthetics related to the philosophical area, or a philosophical wing or a wing, what am I trying to say? A wing of philosophy, a branch of philosophy. And so, in this case, these are all things, as you can see and hear, that matter at some point, to me at least. And this is what I'm trying to share. So, this one is a bit different. I like the pivot shape. I like the speed holes, make it a bit of a different slip joint. Yeah, the walk and talk is not as nice as the fat carbon. Definitely. And that's, the acoustics have to do precisely with the speed holes and the construction, the closed construction and an open construction. But in this case, what's going to be more important, at least for me, is going to be this design. It's a bit more rare. And although I like both of them, I'm going to go with the open design. I'm going to have to sell the other one. Like I said, there are different moments in collecting. It's also like changing gears, shifting gears in a car. Sometimes we are in first gear, sometimes we go to a second, we're on fourth, sometimes we stay in a fourth for a longer period of time, or neutral. Sometimes we have to go in reverse. That has happened to me, for example, with custom folders. Haven't found that, or perhaps I have found my grail for custom. This was my grail when I started out. This was my grail for production knives. This I have to thank Metal Complex, because he understood and he sold me his back in the day. And so this is a grail. And so I am looking for a custom grail, and I think I found it. I'm not going to spoil that video. We'll see. But I have gone back and forth and in reverse with custom knives. So, and custom folders. So in that sense, it's something, like I said, nothing is written in stone, and we have to understand that things change and evolve. So, the way I select is also according to circumstances. What circumstance am I going through? What stage of collecting am I going through? Right now, I'm on the stage where I went back to my origins, which many of you might know. I spent a lot of time up in the woods, 13 years of my life, and man, let me see. So I spent many years of my life in the woods. And sorry about that, but I have incoming messages, so I had to respond to that, and otherwise it would keep on interrupting. I've gone back to Pucos, and I started off with Moras. And it just, again, I'm back again with the Pucos and Scandi grinds. And in that sense, you know, I gotta choose. Where did I put the other? Well, anyways, I have chosen to stick with Pucos and to give it another try. Now, this might be a little bit more difficult to manage than a convex or than a flat grind, particularly than flat grinds. Nonetheless, I chose. And I do love this Folknieben F1. It's a fantastic knife in many senses. Yeah, this might be designed for a more tactical use, but in the woods is also great. Gotta say that. Yet I do have my lovely bark rivers, which I enjoy greatly, and those I keep. And so I'm gonna let go of my Folknieben and keep my Pucos and my Scandi grind. Now, as you can see, and this is going to stay still for some time, this is the Condor bush lure. A fantastic knife for the money. I think it's 1085 or something. It's a high carbon steel, but it's a really, really good, really great knife. Comfortable in the hand, well, at least in my hand, and just, well, it's staying, as you can see. So that's taking into consideration the moment that I'm going through right now, and I'm not working up in the mountains. I'm not working up in the woods as before, or in the outdoors. Now I work indoors. Sucks, but anyways, that's part of life. But I select according to circumstances. Also, what I want to keep on using in the short, medium, and long term. We have to take into consideration also sometimes what is more, what is easier, what is going to be easier to sell, and I don't know. Perhaps this, because of its popularity, is going to be easier to sell than the bush lure. Who knows? Because also the price is a bit different. But that's also something that is that has to be taken into consideration as well as the need. If we have a need to sell, well, then we're just going to have to sell, right? But be careful. Be careful not to try not to lose too much money. We know that when we enroll in this, we're bound to lose some money, and that's okay. Prices change and everything, but you know, we can salvage some, save some of that money. Salvage. And so, for example, when we go back to another thing, which is the emotional thing, like I said, this was my grail, and up to a point it still is. A good opportunity that MC gave me before he was so popular and so huge, as to be able to get my grail, something I will always appreciate from Metal Complex. And I gotta say, although like I mentioned, although utility is something very important, as a matter of fact, one of the first characteristics I look for in a knife or a folder to keep, I do think the FireTac is the best folder that Hinderer has. Of course, I would have to see now with the hollow grinds. That's very interesting, but I think that this platform, the FireTac, is the best knife Hinderer has in many ways, especially with the full titanium handle, which is also very hard to get in any of the platforms. But even though I honestly believe this is the better platform, the better folder, I'm gonna have to keep the XM18. Call me crazy, but you know, when I started off with the knife collecting and the knife enthusiast thing, this was the profile of this thing was just beautiful, and it just got me into it. It got me hooked. And so it is still a good knife. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I think this is a better platform all around. But I'm gonna have to let go of this one. And so we start seeing here how, you know, the knives, the folders that I get to keep, which is also exciting, because I'm not also do I get to keep this, but I get to use them, which is something so important for me. I think it's periodically, for me at least, it's important to rotate and take out pieces. Because although I like many of us, like to hoard and keep as many as I can, you know, there's another part of me that doesn't like to accumulate, and that knows I can't, and knows that I don't want to accumulate, that don't want to hoard. Why? Because I want to be able to use them. I want to be able to learn from them. I want to be able to experiment them and enjoy my blades. That's the thing. Doesn't matter if they're 17, if they're 7, 13, or 1, 2, or 50. Of course, with numbers comes less use, and I want to be able to enjoy my knives. And so we come down, for example, to the Chris Reeve and the Arnaud Bernard. Very similar. Two knives that are very comparable, or so many people say, particularly the Sabenza. But I chose the Omnonzon, to take out the Omnonzon. And this is the Imamba. Beautiful, beautiful knife. One of the most beautiful drop points out there. And I particularly love this model where the nail nick, if you will, or the nick is closed and it's not open like in the König areas. Now this is supposed to be a two-hand opening, but it's so well built that just with the flick of a hand, of course, it's difficult under the camera. There it is, but no problem. And also with the thumb opening, no problem. Just gotta get used to it. But this is a beautiful, beautiful knife as well. Of course, I had to test. I had to put Chris Reeve through the ringer because of all the hype, the popularity, and all. And in this case, I'm gonna have to let go of the Imamba. Why? Not because of any issue it has, but rather because of the moment that I'm going through. And I thought that this would be easier to sell, at least here. It's brand new. It's difficult to get here to Mexico. And I think it'll sell well. And yeah, because of my illness, this long period of not working and whatnot, I think this will help me get back on my feet as well as the other ones. I'm not in a rush to sell anything, but I'm just sharing the process, this process of going through my collection. Now, all of these knives, folders, are part of my personal collection, of my some of them of my high-end collection or higher-end collection. And so something that I hadn't done, at least with important pieces like this one, right? As well as the SC3, like I was saying here, I just found it in front of me. A flat grind is easier to manipulate, to manage. But still, I'm also gonna have to let go of the SC3 because I just want to learn how to use a pucco. And I have used them before for woodworking, for carving, whittling, feather sticks. I've used them for that quite a lot. But you know, in the countries where these are from, they have been using these knives for forever, for skinning game, for skinning fish, for EDC. And you know, this type of grind it's very interesting, and so I really want to learn how to use a pucco for EDC, not just for feather sticks or whittling. I want to learn how to use it in an EDC way. And also, well, this is one that the Mamba is gonna go. So as you can see, these are some of the folders and knives that are going to stay. I have other ones, I had to choose other ones that are also gonna go. The Sokosha, CKF Sokosha, the Satu, Greyman Satu, and it has been a process selecting each one of them and just letting go And it's also a personal process of exactly letting go, learning to let go. Things have to change. We cannot keep them static always. And it's just part of life. And at least in my collecting, I want my collection to be alive. I'm not criticizing anything else. I'm just talking about my collection. And so rotating and keeping things flowing makes me feel that my collection is alive and I keep on learning and experimenting. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. It's just my point of view. Professor EDC out.